Welcome back to the 99, where we're focused on brewing a better competitive commander. I'm your host, Patrick Marlette, and this is Cold Brew, where I take you from start to finish on a brand new list, new for myself at least. And this week's February Project Brew is Thantis the Warweaver. Now, before I jump into this Cold Brew with you all, I want to thank everyone that subscribed during the month of February, everyone that pledged during the month of February, everyone that tuned in for these videos. You guys are the best. You make all of this possible. I don't think you understand that. However, I do want to say just a few update announcements before we jump into this. I am new to live streaming. This is our second month in, and I'm really happy that February was successful. We had a lot of concurrent viewers with all of our videos. However, there's a couple of new things I'm implementing to the live stream so that they're more interactive and engaging for you all. So the next time you send a super, the next time you subscribe, it should pop up on the screen with a little congratulatory message, because I have not been able to notice any of that in real time. So if you ever wanted acknowledgement for your time here, well, it's there now. So I'm kind of excited about that. Let's see if any of that pops up as we go live today. It should be at like the bottom right. If you do super, or you do subscribe, or you donate, or there's a couple of options. But thank you guys for tuning in. Every project up to this point was a Patreon suggested list. I'd say the most successful was Kelsey and the Plague. I don't know how that worked out, but Kelsey was really potent. And today's list is going to be very interesting at that. I do want to shout out Luis. You suggested this. It got the most votes. Who'd have thunk that this many people want to see Thantis the Warweaver? I'm extremely excited to jump into this one. Obviously, at 6 CMC, this is going to be a little bit of a tough time trying to get this out, because it's not only 6 CMC, it happens to be Jund as well. So there's a couple of colored pips to fulfill in that mana value. However, again, one large thank you to everyone for tuning in to these weekly cold brews. After this month, it's going to go back to just bi-weekly episodes. And the next cold brew we're going to be doing is a, if I don't change it, Krark Rayhan, also Jund. And or Krark Timna. I can't really make heads or tails which of the two I want to do, but we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be an interesting storm list with a lot of cost reducers, a lot of draw effects, a lot of rituals. It should be really fun, though. If not effective, we'll see. We want to be in Jund for the creature tutors, because much like Wart, we can cheat out to combo creatures, essentially. That's the beauty of having Krark so early. You can have him on turn 1 extremely quickly, and obviously go off with, Finale of Devastation, Court of Calling, all that good stuff. But to the list at hand, I just want to check in with everyone while folks are tuning in. Testing for the cause, loving the content. See, now I saw that. Did that not pop up on the screen? Yes! Yes! Thank you. That's awesome. I'm going to watch just the chat box here as more people tune in. Yeah, cold brew is my favorite, to be honest. I'm happy to hear that. Did I sleep all right? I went to bed at like 2:30. So yesterday was just a lot of filming. I spent most of the morning, let's just have a relaxing cold brew today. I think Thantis is going to build itself. It's going to be easy. But I spent most of yesterday morning writing script. So I've been wanting to do sketches, comedic sketches for Magic for years now. Me and the guys have talked about doing like sort of musical bits. I've seen the guitars in my studio space before. And I'm going to start incorporating some of those. But it's just difficult with COVID and all, just making sure that everyone's completely safe to have over. Most of our crew is vaccinated at this point, so, that's a good thing. So after this live stream, I'm going to set up the space in 30 minutes, and then I'm hosting the guys to film Brew Wars. Speaking of, I don't know if I just referred to it as Brew Wars or Cold Brew. But I would like to do more sketches with the guys. I think the stuff I'm going to do initially is probably just going to be by myself. Maybe like a la MTG Remy. I think he's been really good about doing the comedic stuff as of late. And I'd like to sort of throw my hat in the ring, particularly with YouTube's short program. If you haven't seen YouTube Shorts, it came out near the end of last year. It's essentially an open beta for a TikTok variant. And I love TikTok. I think it's super amusing and fun. So if I can sort of jump on that wagon with YouTube, at least I'll be at the front of the line for that sort of short form content. And this last video is doing really well, and it hasn't even been on the short shelf yet. So thank you to everyone that tuned in for that, 30-second bit. So there's gonna be a lot more of that. And that's not gonna, overtake any of our weekly content either. So expect an episode every Tuesday, which is gonna be the live stream and or a playtest segment, and also the weekly episodes every Sunday. I'm gonna try to avoid reactionary videos too soon. I know I've been sending out a lot of community polls regarding the Universes Beyond talk that is, all the rage right now. The fact that MTG is expanding to other universes, and it looks like they're getting, if not their own sets, at least their own commander sets. At least that's what it sounds like with Warhammer 40k. Like they're just commander-centric product, which is really cool for fans of Warhammer 40k. And if it's the same sort of treatment for Lord of the Rings, it's really cool for them too. But I think it's too early to have a reactionary video. We don't really know what this product looks like ultimately, so I'm going to refrain from doing any of that. I'll let my contemporaries hit you with all that shit first. But let me go back to the comments here and see what's going on. Krark Sakashima, yes, I fought a Krark Sakashima, and it actually popped off really quickly. It was a really fun list. I don't brew for blue, so I think that is the more popular pairing, but we're going to get something interesting by adding more colors to the mix, and obviously excluding blue takes us away from that sort of Helm of the Host effect, which is Sakashima, excuse me. But maybe in Jund we can do like a Helm of the Host Godo, and then, use the Helm on Krark. That'd be kind of cool to get multiple Krarks, extra extra Krark bats to get more Krarks, more, coin flipping. That would be really nonsensical and fun. I really like the short, too real in the feelings. Yes, yeah, it's funny. We've got a lot of card flickers in our group, and it kills me every time. So shout out to all of you. I understand it, but a lot of these guys are like tournament grinders, and my understanding of the card flick, sometimes it's like a idiosyncratic gesture. Sometimes it's just a nervous tick for some people, but for a lot of folks, they're trying to get on your nerves. And if you're doing that in like a casual setting, I just don't understand. It's so infuriating to me. Just put the cards down, relax. I'm buying beers. Have a beer. Anyway. A Lord of the Rings comment, all I can say is death, death, death. Also, Rohan Precon. I would love a Knights of Rohan Precon. Oh my god. I'm really excited for it. It sounds like when they mentioned the One Ring being incorporated into this last thing we'll talk on before we jump into this video. The One Ring, I know a lot of people, and WotC's been, for that matter, has been witnessing the altar market just pick up steam. Like, people love seeing other IPs in this game, and I'm pretty sure that's where this initial attention came from. And you can sort of see the influence in all their secret layers up to date, particularly the rock and roll themed one with Assassin's Trophy, Thraxmander, all that. I've seen a lot of altar artists do that kind of concept, and now WotC's sort of like milking or cashing on that cow. And we've seen the One Ring Soul Rings all over the place, and if you haven't, just check an altar page. You're going to find a bunch of Lord of the Rings content. So I think they're definitely smart to pair with that IP, and it's really cool for the folks that like Lord of the Rings, which is arguably going to be a bigger audience than The Walking Dead. All those people pouring in to play this game because they're their favorite properties in it. I really think that's cool on a personal level. Obviously, that as a content creator, that's great because more people are going to want to pour in to see, like, how do you build the best Aragorn, which is really weird to say, but also exciting because I'm a huge fan of Magic the Gathering, and I'm also a huge fan of Lord of the Rings. And they're so close to each other. Like, the only difference really between the dragons, the wizards, the goblins, the orcs is Kithkin to Hobbit. So, like, we're pretty close to that property anyway, so I don't feel so bad about this pairing. But it sounds like the One Ring is going to be definitely a mechanically unique card. Like, they want to make something that's like a legendary artifact that's really scary. I don't think it's just going to be a Soul Ring, guys. Sadly, if you were worried about the pairing. And I know this conversation's not fun for everyone. Sorry if it's ruffling any feathers. I'm excited for it, though, by and large. I think it's going to be healthy, so long as they handle it properly. And I'll save that for a future video. So let's just see where you guys are, and then we'll talk about Thantis. Flicker video was awesome. Reminds me of Narume. Yeah, I was thinking, like, should I call this the card flicker? I'm like, I guess that would be called the ghostly flicker. I haven't come up with a naming convention yet. But essentially, you know, there could be a Narume video. It'd be really funny to do a video where it's just like an ephemerate over a cloud shift over like a ghostly flicker, just a shit ton of like flicking things in and out of the battlefield. That would be pretty funny. I'll go ahead and leave more comments in the Discord in case you want to suggest ideas of what you'd like to see. I've got a ton already. I'm going to rewrite a few of the scripts I've written. But because they're under 60 seconds, they're mostly all going to be like one-liners, but I think that's probably good for that type of content. I don't know. I'm still experimenting. As a massive Warhammer nerd, I'm looking forward to playing Magic over lunch at 40k tournaments at the end of the year. See, that's so fucking cool. Pardon my language. I do think that's really cool. Like, I grew up around comic book shops and hobby shops in general. So I'm used to like hanging out with the Warhammer guys. I played HeroClix growing up. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it was a tabletop game too. And I enjoyed the shit out of that. But going there for HeroClix got me into Magic, got me into comics, got me into a ton of things that I never would have experienced otherwise. So it almost feels like with these IPs that I'm like visiting my comic shop. I don't know. So it's nostalgic for me. I'm excited at the possibilities as a player, not just as a content creator. So let's just hope it's handled right. I'm going to trust Wizards of the Coast. I mean, they're doing this for the profit, right? I'm pretty sure Hasbro's margins have gone down, but WotC's been thriving over these last 2 years. So clearly they're giving it a lot of attention, and that's good for everyone, I think. It just means more, right? It just means more product, ultimately is the way to look at this. But I'm excited. I'm not going to lie. We'll obviously have more discussions and polls and chat on the channel for this. The only thing this is only going to fuel a Star Wars collab soon. Hopefully. So, definitely keep the short films up, and thanks for starting with MTG's nails on the chalkboard. So, it's interesting. I think if they paired with Disney, do you know how large Disney is? Do you know how large Magic the Gathering would become if they just had like a WandaVision spin-off or like any sort of Disney property spin-off? Shit would explode, you know? Maybe not for the fan base that cares about the lore of this game, but for people that are interested in that stuff, and there's arguably a bigger market for that. So it just means the game gets more shit. Hopefully it doesn't deflate from, you know, this head rush of content. We'll see. I am hopeful. I am hopeful, optimistic. Hopefully optimistic. Is that the phrasing? That's what I'm going to say. Before we jump into this, it's raining pretty hard outside. So if you hear like taps or tapping, it's not the neighbors. It's the rain on my AC because it's hot in here. All right, Thantis the Warweaver. Let's do this video. I'll put a note in the comment section where people can skip if they don't want to hear this jargon. Thantis the Warweaver, 3 generic, Jund, so that's black, red, green, legendary creature spider, vigilance, reach. Really cool. I wish it had haste. 5/5. All creatures attack each combat if able, and how this is meaningful is because whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, put a 1/1 counter on Thantis the Warweaver. So mind you, with this effect, you don't need to block the creature. The benefit is just having the creature attack you. Right? So I think some people were saying goad before the video started. This could also mean just putting Monarch on the battlefield, right? Because that's going to encourage people to attack you. And we're going to have to look up cards that obviously make it so people have to attack you. I forget the names of the cards if you guys want to lend cautiously optimistic. Thank you. Cautiously optimistic is the expression I was looking for. Hopeful and cautiously optimistic. So yes, you don't need to block the creatures. They just need to attack you. Obviously, this is on the attack trigger, so before you declare blockers, Thantis can be bigger. And it's whenever a creature, not one or more creatures. So you get a trigger for each creature that attacks you. So we want to encourage this quite a bit, right? And Thantis, mind you, you're in Jund, right? So black and red have all the ritual spells. And then on top of that, you get all of the additional ramp outside of rocks, right? So outside of rocks, outside of dorks, you also get the Elvish Spirit Guide to the World, the Simian Spirit Guide to the World. So getting Thantis down shouldn't be difficult. I don't know if that's our priority. Again, I put no thought into this list. We're doing all of this live. hopefully within 2 hours. So putting him down early seems to be the plan here, because provided he's down, he or she, I don't know what Thantis is, she spins a web. Provided she's down, you can start making a huge spider. And then ideally with additional combats or damage doublers or any of that shit, you can just even give her double strike and probably knock someone out. And again, have the most amazing blocker on the battlefield. Really, the biggest threat in a cEDH setting is Crom, because Crom's a 4/4 flyer with haste, right? He's got the evasion. That's usually the biggest thing on the field. So already we're passing that bar. And sometimes if we're looking at Jund, Corvold is like a big threat, but I have never lost to a Corvold. But I will make someone lose to Thantis. So I think what folk are trying to convince me to do is lend this towards being a stacks package. I don't know if we do that. I think it's going to be maybe an additional combat package. Maybe we use Sword of Feast and Famine and go extra combats. I want to use everything to put extra lands on the field, get all the ramp we can, and then there's decent card draw, at least in black. So let's just go ahead and take a look at the land base here. For now, I'm using all of the MDFC, the Bolt MDFCs. Aghadim's Awakening, I don't know what creatures we have. This can probably get kicked, particularly if we're manipulating ad nauseum. This is expensive along with Turn Timber Symbiosis. This isn't as bad as Turn Timber Symbiosis. I mean expensive in triple black. Like, that's quite difficult to do in a triple colored list unless you're trying to prioritize black spells for some reason, or you have the Dark Grid. But then if you have the Dark Grid, you're probably going to prioritize something else, like a Necropotence. So this is very end game material, Aghadim's, but it's a bolt land with extra utility. So yes, you use it. Shattered Skull Smashing, great for clearing the board. I use this in every red list. It's one of my it's my favorite MDFC from the lot. Followed closely by Turn Timber Symbiosis, which is 4 generic triple green. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. You can put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. We all know what these do, I hope. But let's see here. I'm just going to go over the comments really quick. Anti-Goad, 6 mana in Jund is easier than 5 mana in Golgari. And look at Gitrog. Gitrog's sort of fallen out of favor with my group. We had a Gitrog player that just got off Gitrog because it was actually too slow. He now plays Anala. No offense to Gitrog, I'm sure Gitrog is still extremely playable. Especially with Jeweled Lotus, like it got a boost, but then so did everyone else. I regard Thantis as a she. Spider in Spanish is female. Yeah, it also says it on the card that it's a she. So I love the idea of Thantis in all honesty, but the thing is, I have issue with in terms of the style of deck as a whole. Single target removal, I scoop. Problem. Oh, yeah, I mean, you can use Lightning Greaves. We're probably going to use some form of protection here. And again, if we do use a light stack suite, then maybe our Hate Bears will also potentially benefit from the Don't Touch My Creature package, right? So maybe we do run Veilstone Amulet, maybe we do run Lightning Greaves in addition to the Swiftfoot Boots. I actually remembered them this time. So going over our land base, again, we usually start here, we usually end here. The only land that I want to draw your attention to, because all of these make perfect sense in my mind. Again, it's pretty bad in the fact that all of these lands, we have a Tainted Pact land base here. So obviously we're probably going to run Tainted Pact as just a tutor, but we may alternate to have more basics pending the kind of stack suite we have. Like if we do incorporate Blood Moon, Mags of the Moon, whatever. Again, I'm not really dead set on this being a stacks package. The only thing that's really important to note land-wise is Swarm Yard. So this is essentially like the Elephant Graveyard or Elephant Boneyard, I forget what it is, but better because it has more targets and it's not as expensive and hopefully gets a reprint. So you can tap it for generic and or you can tap it to regenerate target insect, rat, spider, or squirrel. So what were you saying about single target removal, Christopher? We're good now. Kind of. We're good now. You can crop rotate. You can literally crop rotate this and have regeneration on the fly with no additional mana. That's really cool, provided we need to get Thantis back. So I had Yavimaya Hollow in here initially, right? Which is another land we can look at. I don't think it's absolutely necessary anymore. So this is regenerate target creature, but it costs a green. In my mind, Thantis is likely going to be the most important target. So I think we're good with just the 1 regeneration. So on that note, let's just go ahead. Let's just go ahead and start looking up cards for this list. So the first thing we want to do is look for stuff that's influenced by combat. And again, if you guys want to follow the list, I left a link in the chat, but it's probably way up there now. If you guys want to follow along with the list, you can just go ahead into the description of this video, and there should be a link to the list. Okay. Goad, right? Is that the first thing we want to do? Does Goad make it so they attack other people? Who do they attack when you goad them? Until your next turn, those creatures attack each combat if able and attack a player other than you if able. See, now, I don't want that at all. We want them to attack us, right? I remember Goad had that caveat. Like, it seems like a shoe-in, but as a keyword, it's cute like that you are having them tap out. Mind you, because of Thantis, they already do, you know, half of what Goad does. They need to attack each combat if able. However, we want them to attack us. So, provided you have Thantis out, how do we get them to do that? So Goad is a mechanic I'm probably going to ignore. Unless you can come up with a good reason why their Arbor Elf should be swinging at someone else. Attack you? Is that the wording? Attack you? I really don't know what the wording is for someone must attack you. But I think there's a couple of creatures that state that. Oh man, there's a lot of cards to research. What about Port Raiser? Maybe Port Raiser. If you guys don't know, Port Raiser is the gain additional combat card. That's kind of cool. If we wind up doing like Kiki combo, then yeah, obviously that'll be really good. I just need to find one instance of the word must attack you. Return because that's what we're looking for, right? We want to make sure that they attack us each turn. Target creature defending. Nope, not interested in that. Oh, that's pretty low CMC. That's kind of cool. She control assign combat damage equal to its toughness. Well, Thantis is a 5/5, right? Now folks are suggesting curses, so if you're following along after this video was recorded, you could you could curse yourself, right? Whenever enchanted players attack, untap all non-land permanents you control. Well, obviously you don't want to do that, but you get what I'm saying. Like, if you cursed yourself, then you're like, the curse of opulence or the curse of bounty. You'd be like, yes, attack me, you get benefits. Horrible idea to curse yourself, but cursing opponents is kind of cool, right? The benefit of Thantis is when they attack you, though. So that's the first thing we're trying to get out of the way. Like, how do we encourage them to attack us? And I swear there are ways. Oh no. Okay, there are ways to get people to attack you. I just need to find out how. And it's not curses. Oh, is there like a curse from Innistrad that's like meant for this list? Attacks put a lore counter on Saga you control? That's kind of cute. At the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast, nope. Battle attack, turn around, yeah. And gang. I guess we just give up on Thantis, huh? Attacks each combat if able. I can do that. There is a legendary creature. Let's just go all the way down to the end of the line. Yeah, so let's see here. It's like a minotaur of some sort. Like they have to attack you, or they're encouraged to attack you, or must attack you? Let's just add the Oracle text. Must? Each opponent must attack you or a planeswalker you control with at least one creature each combat if able. At the beginning of your end step, create a colorless treasure artifact token with tap. Yes, we know what treasures do. This is like a worse Smothering Tithe, ain't it? Yeah, is the first mate, is Tangrath what I'm talking about? Huh. No, that's not what I'm talking about. This guy's cute, though. We want them swinging at us. Tangrath's kind of cool. Why didn't we do that yet? So this is exactly what I'm talking about. Trove of Temptation makes it so that people have to attack you with at least one creature. That's exactly what I'm talking about. How else can we coax this? How else can we encourage this? I don't know. What is there not a keyword that says creatures attack you? Like, this is killing me. That's what Thantis needs, right? Arguably. Well, let's just get some of the easy stuff out of the way. We know we want, like, the Pyretic Ritual. We know we want... Damn, Simian Spirit Guide. I'm going to add a few cards to this list. Elvish Spirit Guide. We're going to do Desperate Ritual. Dark Ritual. Rite of Flame. Cabal Ritual. Again, we need all the things to accelerate our mana base. Seething Song is not great, but it does cover 4 of the cost, right? And or just go into rocks. Seething Song. Jessica's Will is okay here. The impulse drawing, like, to me, Jessica's Will is better for a list that can get their commander down quickly. Like, Rograk is obviously the ideal. Jessica's Will, otherwise, you're going to have to pick one of 2 modes, and the impulse drawing is okay. I'm probably going to sideline it, but I don't think Jessica's Will is good in a list where the commander's too damned expensive. So Seething Song, I think we got most of the rituals out of the way. There's a handful more we can add. Why don't we just do that now? Add instant sorcery. Right. There's a few things here. I think there's I might even use some storm cards to rotate through our hand. We'll see. Oh, Infernal Plunge would be really great. Infernal Plunge and Culling the Weak, right? Mind you, Culling the Weak might be overkill. We'll see. Ember Wild Captain is kind of interesting. Okay. Ember Wild. I'll look up Ember Wild. If that's how you spell it. Ooh, I like this one. Okay. You become the Monarch. Whenever an opponent attacks you while you're the Monarch, Ember Wild Captain deals damage to that player equal to the number of cards in their hand. That is kind of cute. Well, that's what initially that's what I was saying, right? Like, damn, could Captain Gun like trample or anything? Like being a 4/2, damn, being a 4/2 for 4 at rare with no other effects other than being a Djinn, which is kind of cute. I want Monarchy, though. I think that putting Monarch in this list is smart. Like, that's going to be really effective draw for you because you're going to have the biggest thing on the field. Usually, right? Unless Thantis gets removed. So having Monarchy is probably a safe way to draw in this list. We'll see. Fumiko the Lowblood is another. Oh, yeah, Fumiko. Creatures your opponents control attack each combat if able. So it doesn't say. So maybe I'm just mistaken in my thoughts on the wording here. I feel like there had to be a couple of cards that, like, I'm just going to call it the keyword is antagonize. Like, there's got to be cards that make them attack you. Not specifically, rather, not just blanket attack. Like, I want them to attack into us. Because I don't think people are going to willingly attack into Thantis. I just don't think so. Until the end of the turn, Bubbling Muck. So this is like our high tide for the list. It's for everyone. Could be useful. I don't think we're going to have that many black sources or that many swamps. Burnt Offering is cute. I don't think we're going to use it here. Just because I'm looking at it, I'll add Crop Rotation now. I know we want that. And Culling the Weak, yeah, we've talked about. Dark Rit, we've gone over. Okay, we just want to find ways. You may play an additional land this turn. Target creature explores. Enter the Unknown is not a bad card. There could be some sort of +1/+1 counter manipulation in this list. Like, we might rely on a combo that it does the +1/+1 thing. But that like basically would be Mike and Trike, right? That's not horrible. It's a very expensive combo to accomplish, but we're trying to go late game with this list. We'll find out. Metamorphosis is really good. Dark Metamorphosis. So basically, add X of any one color where X is +1, the sacrifice creature's converted mana cost. Oh, that's been changed. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells. So basically, you can use this to, like Infernal Plunge or Culling the Weak into your boy, your girl Thantis. Yeah. Songs of the Damned. Well, that's really good after a Buried Alive, isn't it? I'm just looking over all of the ways to make mana. And, you know, things like this, we don't know if we're really there yet. Like, this is obviously good, provided we have a bunch of creatures. We probably will. Enough to cover the... Add 1 of your mana for each creature. Like, you want to be at least +1. Well, Battle Hymn might be too much. If it was like a Krenko list, if we were cranking out creatures constantly, that'd be great. I'm probably going to add some tutors while I'm at this. All right, so let's see here. Explore. Explore is always fun. I do like Explore. Metamorphosis is what I was talking about, right? So this is like a really cool card to put under your Chrome Mox. It's generally for Storm list, but I might just add it for now because we could use the color fixing. I am positive. Metamorphose. Plus I have a copy, so maybe we'll get to use it. This might be the end of the line. We've added Pyretic Ritual, and I don't want to go too far above the cost of the rituals we've already added. These are cute, right? Deconstruct. Like with cost reducers, you kind of go mana positive, provided this resolves, right? That's kind of cool. Add 1 your mana pool for each attacking creature you control. We're going to be attacking, I think. Until the end of turn, attacking creatures you control get fire breathing. It's cool. I'm going to add some effects like these. I'm pretty sure. Harrow, and we want to add, let's do like put land. Search library land really quick. You know, I don't remember all of them, so we're probably going to add like a 3 visits. We're probably going to add the things to just ramp us with land permanence. It's probably good for this list. We really want to get Thantis out, or we're going to try to. We can talk about combo lines in a second. Again, the +1 counter manipulation was a loose thought. I think that Thantis is making +1/+1 counters for herself, right? To no real benefit. Like, we can't manipulate those in any way. She's not able to put them on any other creatures. She's just benefited by them. Now, does this mean we add cards like Doubling Season or ways to add more counters to her? Probably not. You know, like I think someone mentioned Hardened Scales in the chat just a second ago. Like, it's nice. We could probably add like, those combos are so convoluted though. Like the Hardened Scale combos are really convoluted. It's best when your commander really benefits from them though. And Hardened Scales here is pretty cool. Again though, you need to encourage people to attack into you. They're not just gonna, again, so maybe Monarchy, maybe having just really valuable Planeswalkers, like that will encourage people to make those multiple swings. It feels doubtful. It feels heavily doubtful. But this is going to be a really good list for your Planeswalkers because Thantis is going to protect them. Speaking of Planeswalkers, we'll add Wrenn and 6 right now. Wrenn and 6. All right, because Wrenn and 6 kicks ass. Let's see here. Let's add some green search library shit. New Frontiers, not that one. Like Traverse the Ulvenwald. I'm not really sure we hit Delirium in this list though, quickly. Farseek I've always wanted to play. You know, searching it, putting it on the battlefield tapped kind of sucks. but it can be any form of plains, island, swamp, or mountain. Essentially, you get, so the benefit of this here is that you can get your green coupled with, swamp and or mountain as a dual land. So maybe Farseek, but I don't like how it comes into play tapped. So let's just see how it performs. And then obviously, we're probably going to add 3 visits. And what is the other one? God, I run it in Ward. I don't remember the name. Not rampant growth, none of it. Sylvan Scrying is actually kind of cool for this list. I don't think our lands are that important, but again, having the Swarm Yard is really cool, provided. Swarm Yard or Gaia's Cradle, right? Maybe we add Sylvan Scrying just to ensure that we get to casting Thantis sooner, or are able to protect Thantis on our turn. Because if Sylvan Scrying resolves and you grab Swarm Yard, like, they can't react to you putting Swarm Yard on the battlefield. So it's a good way to keep Thantis safe, I think, after the fact. Oh my gosh. Search library land. Oh, it's because it says search library forest, right? Let's just look that up really quick. Nature's Lore. Let's just add those now. Nature's Lore 3 visits. We'll see if they stick. I'm sure we're going to cut some of them, if I'm being honest. So why don't I just research some Planeswalkers for us as well? We didn't add any tutors yet, and I think we can. Imperial Seal. We can add Sylvan Tutor for now. I really don't like Sylvan Tutor for now. We can add Wishclaw Talisman. We can add Demonic Tutor. We can add Gamble. And to be entirely honest with you, because we are in the colors and we have black, so finding Underworld Breach is not difficult. This would be an interesting Breach list. I don't know how we manipulate Breach in an original way for Thantis, but it could just be how we win the game, right? Breach with like Stitcher Supplier, or Breach with Grinding Station, and obviously a way to kill the creature. If you use something like Breach with Stitcher Supplier, if you don't know what Stitcher Supplier is, it's a 1 CMC black creature that when it enters the battlefield or when it leaves the battlefield, you mill 3 cards. So that's fueling the escape cost. And with something like Culling the Weak, you can kill her, go mana positive, and continue to do this, excuse me, right? If you've never seen that loop, something you can do. Did I hit all the tutors? I'm sorry, did I get Demonic Tutor in there? Let's add Finale of Devastation. That's not how you spell devastation. Devastation. Is that not how I spelled it? All right. See that goes through. And Chord of Calling. And Eldritch Evolution. Let's just save this out. See what we're at. Okay. Why don't I just look up search library effects really quick by and large. I don't think that we missed any major tutors there, but I would like to know with certainty. And then I want to do Planeswalkers. Right? How do you get people to attack you? Run really good Planeswalkers. The hope. Entomb, probably don't need Entomb. Green Sun Zenith. Did I add Dryad Arbor to this list? I did. Green Sun Zenith. Okay. Might have been the only major one I missed, if I'm being honest with y'all. Scheming Symmetry. Oh, man. Vampiric Tutor. I didn't get Vampiric Tutor, did I? Nope. All right. That's a big one. And what else? So there I got Worldly Tutor. That's a good tutor. Assassin's Trophy. We'll probably add that when we get to our interaction suite at the end here. I really love Fiend Artisan. Fiend Artisan in Belby. Really good, I have to say. Mausoleum Secrets is cute, but really only in mono black or dual color. Pyre of Heroes, Birthing Pod. There's probably a line of play in there. I mean, Thantis she's 6 CMC. Is that what we established? She's 7 CMC, 6 CMC. There's Probably a line of play for that. Not necessarily Pyre, but Survival of the Fittest. I don't think I put Survival of the Fittest. I mean, we've added a lot of cards, but no real win conditions, I have to say. Because what's really going to happen here is it's going to narrow down to maybe 10 to 12 cards that are core to the actual strategy, like making the thing happen. We'll see. So we don't really need that many cards available in our list to make this go off. I think that's fine for now. Let's go ahead and add our Planeswalkers. Planeswalkers. Don't know if we're going to find anything groundbreaking. I haven't looked at Jund Planeswalkers in a minute. Yeah, someone mentioned it already. Tavesh Svat. Yeah, is that a good Planeswalker? Yeah, it is. We've added Ren in 6, just good value. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if the player has fewer cards in hand, Davrel's cute. Probably not useful. Do we use Valky? Enters the battlefield, each opponent reveals their hand. For each opponent, exile a creature card they revealed this way until Valky leaves the battlefield. That's interesting because we want them to have their creatures to attack, but not that soon. So Valky's kind of useful. Choose a creature card from exile with Valky. X becomes a copy of that card. Well, you know, most of the creatures that people play have ETBs that are relevant, so Valky just can be useless unless they have a stacks creature. Like if I just make them become a Glow Rider, that's kind of cool, right? Damn, I'm not going to lie to you. I would really like to play with Valky. I don't think this is the list for Valky. I do think Domri, Anarch of Bolas is fantastic. So creatures you control get a minor buff. You can fight things with Domri. Obviously, this is just amazing creature removal on the back end. But then also creature spells being uncounterable is a really huge deal. I like Domri a lot. So we're going to run Anarch of Bolas here. Again, this isn't to say any of these really stick. I just want to see what we can get value-wise. Put a plus on each creature. Yeah. I love Nissa, Voice of Zendikar. She is so damned good. I don't know if she's really great for this list necessarily. Putting the +1/+1 counters is great, though, for the most part, if we're just trying to damage out the board. I think that's a very minor sub-strategy for Thantis. I don't think damaging out the board is like a real strategy. Someone mentioned Duretti, right? So there's two Durettis. There's the Ingenious Iconoclast. You make artifacts, sacrifice, if you do, destroy target artifact, kind of valuable. Actually, I really do like this Duretti. I like this Duretti for the list. I don't know if the other one is of value. Scrap Savant. And again, I don't want to add too many Planeswalkers. Creatures you control have Menace is kind of cute. I don't know if this Angrath is good enough, though, elsewise. And I really love this Chandra. Is she good for the list? I do think that this Garruk is highly underrated for Commander. cEDH in particular. Untapping 2 target lands is a really huge deal. Making 3/3 beaters is a big deal. And obviously it's a blowout, right? With the bottom effect here, creatures you control get +3/+3 and have trample. I don't think we're going to try to win the game that way, but we might. And it's certainly something that people need to attack into. But otherwise, it's just good ramp once you've landed it. And once you land it, it's not like your defense is down. You can untap 2 lands and be able to interact with the board elsewise, right? So maybe we add this one. I think that having the ramp there is important just for Thantis' sake. And then obviously it can operate as a really good way to blow out the board. Oh, how badly do we want them to have creatures to attack with? We can run Forbidden Orchard was the suggestion. Badly. Let's do it. Forbidden Orchard. I just like the idea. I like the idea of giving them shit to just die. The only issue is, you know, obviously there's a ton of lists that benefit from having bodies on the field, right? There's a lot of things that say as additional cost sacrifice. So when we Forbidden Orchard, we're probably going to give it to like the mono blue player, the guy that wouldn't benefit from having creatures. So yeah, my thoughts on that. Karn the Great Creator. Well, you know what? People need to swing into that shit all the time. So yeah, that's good. Karn the Great Creator seems good in my mind. I like Koth. I like Koth and Cube. I don't know if Koth in Commander is going to be worth it. I really do love this Nissa, by the way. Because when that bow breaks, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a loyalty counter on Nissa. So we're not in a lands matter list. We could use Morag, the Minotaur, to get extra combats to make Thantis do more damage, which is kind of cool. Maybe. Untap a land you control. Nah. You may put a creature card with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of lands you control onto the battlefield from your hand for or graveyard with +2/+2 +2/1/1 counters. So that bottom effect is really easy to activate. This is sort of like an unsung hero in the Planeswalker world in my mind. I really love this one. It does feel like it needs to be in a list tailor-made for landfall. But that bottom effect is so good. Obviously, the +1/+1 counters are great for something like recurring Walking Ballista if you do go the Machias route, right? Because it'll ETB with the +1/+1 counter so it doesn't die. Obviously, Triskelion does the same thing. You can have either one of those. So it's kind of cool for those lines of play. Elsewise, I mean, the way you look at it is it's putting a creature from your hand or your graveyard. Like, that's just really insane value, in my opinion, for 4 CMC. She's really solid. And you have her ultimate as soon as you play her in most cases, right? Particularly if you leave a fetch land out or you play a fetch land per turn. She's really cool because you get the 2 counters just off of that. And she lives after the fact, which is really cool. Xenagos is something I play in Storm List, namely Ward. I don't think it's valuable here. I think we're running out of suitors for the list. I think Thantis is fine with what we have so far. And part of me likes Windgrace, but the issue with Windgrace is we should probably just be running him as the commander if we want to play Windgrace. I think we're at our threshold for viable Planeswalkers. Then this is dumb and get Rog, I bet. Yeah, just recover your discard outlet, right? Or you can even entomb it and then you get your Noose Constrictor or whatever back. That's really cool. Did you add Jessica as well, by the way? I did. I'm not sure it's important for the list. Run Jessica and one-shot someone. Yeah, maybe if you add like a loop for that. Did I add Luca? No. Green Sun's Zenith? Let's just get the official wording. I think it's Sun's Zenith. Yeah, okay. The player Death Touch Vraska are kind of cute. Player Death Touch Vraska. Vraska? You may sacrifice another permanent if you do. No. Whenever creature you control with Death Touch deals damage to a player or planeswalker, put a 1/1 counter on that creature. Oh, this one? Speaking of Death Touch, let me just add Orin Frostfang to this list. That seems like a good card for the list. Again, we're not really... This is not... We don't have the combo cards in yet. Let's just look up what Monarch has in store. Again, we're just trying to find ways to encourage people to attack you. So there's going to be a few Monarch cards in these colors. Let's see what we can manipulate that would be of benefit in Thantis. Well, we got all the courts now, right? So enters the battlefield at the beginning. Each one just... That's kind of cool, right? Beginning of your upkeep, if each opponent loses 3 life unless they discard a card. This is just really cool disruption. I don't think it's worth it, but it does put Monarch onto the battlefield. Court of Bounty, again, this one's okay. Then you can put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. If you're the Monarch instead, you may put a creature or land card. That's not hyper relevant for us, that trigger. Again, it does give us Monarchy though. Trying to find things that are a little bit better than this. Toski's cute. Toski's cute. I'm not going to add Toski yet because we're in black. There are better things to do with our time. Speaking of Dark Confidant and Necropotence. Even if we don't use Necropotence as like a win con for the list, Necropotence is still really good. And so far as other black draw spells are concerned, you know, I really love Dark Tutelage, but I'm not really sure this is a great list for it. We'll stop there for now so far as like card draw value is concerned. We can add... This is actually something I'm running in Belby now. Because when Belby dies, or when I want Belby to die, it still gives me the opportunity to tap for a shit ton of mana, but it's a really good way to ramp out, unless I can utilize it, particularly if you have things like Natural Order to get it out quickly, which Belby doesn't use. It's not necessary there. We didn't add Natural Order, though. And obviously, Dawnglade Region, this is another good way, like, to protect your board state, right? If you have Dawnglade Region out, and you're the Monarch, which you become after the fact of casting this, permanents you control have hexproof, so it's not just creatures. Not really certain these are fantastic ways to get Monarch. I do like Dawnglade Regent here because the reach and vigilance on, you know, Thantis really protects your board state, coupled with the fact that Dawnglade Regent. Let's just do Dawnglade Regent and see how it performs. Again, this is such a minor synergy. I'm not really sure, but if we're going to put Monarch on the battlefield, this is kind of how I want to do it. So let's do Natural Order that. We'll also add our Elves in a second. Court of Ire, 2 damage to any target, so shock anything, and or 7 damage to that player or permanent instead. I think Court of Ire might actually make the cut. As weird as that sounds, like that's pretty potent. I kind of just want to blast people. Sadly, I think of the creatures, this is the best way to get Monarchy on the battlefield, and we don't have any other way to get Monarchy. None of these are really living up to expectation, guys. Whenever a creature attacks you or Planeswalker you control, that loses 1 life. Again, this one was really cool, the thought of this, but deals damage to the player equal to the number of cards in their hand. Y'all really like Emberwild Captain. Is this like, do people actually run this in Thantis? Is this like a Thantis card? Yeah. Let's just add Emberwild Captain. I'm gonna humor this for a second. Emberwild Jin Captain. Okay. So we don't have a win con in this list yet. None of the courts tickled my fancy. We are an hour in. Can we make it? Can we make Thantis great again? That's the real question. Was Thantis ever great? I don't know. I really don't know. So we should really look at... Do you consider the Black Court a good one at the end? Yes, man, what is it? Court of Ambition? I'm sorry, is that what it was called? Court of Ambition. Let me just add Court of Ambition. I feel like it's gonna pay dividends. I feel like it's good disruption. Obviously, it's like, it's not a minor amount of life. Even if you're not the Monarch, 3 life is a bit. A bolt every single upkeep, or your upkeep rather, a bolt every time your upkeep rolls around is pretty solid. At 4 CMC, it's kind of... Am I gonna feel great when I culling the week my Elves of Deep Shadow to put this down? Not really, but the card draw will be really relevant. And then obviously just putting Monarchy down, because I will be the one to maintain Monarchy once Thantis is out, for sure. And then obviously, you know, Dawnglade Region, we want that. The Akroan War. What is this? You had me at the... Gain control of target creatures as long as the Akroan War remains on the battlefield. That's kind of cool. Until your next turn, creatures your opponents control attack each combat if able. We do that already. Each tapped creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. Oh, damn. Go away. We don't want you. I'm not so high on the Akroan War. But I get why you might like it. All right, let's go out of here. No, that's a lie. Let's add our elves. We got Arbor Elves. We got Arbor Elves. Or not. We've got Findhorn. Findhorn. We've got Llanowar. Any day. Any day now. We've got Elves of Deep Shadow. Yes, someone mentioned Dockside in the chat. Yes, this is considered ramp. You can make infinite mana in this list. I don't know. You need to do that. I'm just gonna add Eternal Witness while we're here. Okay, Eternal Witness, Noxious Revival. Those are things that I know are going to be in the list ultimately. Noxious Revival. And I'm sorry, we stopped on that elf train. There's a couple more. Elvish Mystic. Elvish Mystic. We're not going to add Boreal Druid. I did Atlanta War Elves. I did Elves of Deep Shadow. Am I missing an elf? Am I missing an elf? Oh, look at the Voids. The Voids of Paradise. Yes. Someone spelled boards. Voids of Paradise. Some medium monarch cards. Planeswalkers are good ultimates. Seem like the best way to encourage people to attack you. Yeah, I think Planeswalkers with good ultimates is like Tavesh. Tavesh is like a really solid ultimate. Man, don't we wish we had white for like Arena Rector just to slam some Planeswalkers to get the ball rolling on that. Priest of Titania is just okay in my book. You forgot Dockside Elf? Yeah. Aren't Mana Rocks just better? No, I wouldn't say Mana Rocks are just better. I would say Mana Rocks are good in tandem with. So let's just do add Soul Ring, Mana Crypt, Mana Vault, Grim Monolith. Let me see here, guys. Making sure that the stream connection is good while I check in with the chat here. Yeah, we still look good. Okay, back to it. Because of the back end of the card, right? So, Jeweled Lotus, Lotus Petal. We're going to use all this shit. I still think that running cards like Collector If would be smart for this because we have alternative ways to ramp as opposed to our opponents, right? Got a lot of our creatures to do that. That might be it. Chrome Mox Diamond. It looks like the stream is cutting in and out. I'm sorry if it is, guys. It says my connection's excellent, though. Feels like a lie. Mox Diamond, Chrome Mox. Okay, let's just save out and see what the list looks like, and then we'll consider strategies for winning the game, right? How do we win the game? We can run dual caster mage, right? That doesn't feel bad. We're going to go to the live edit here. We could play Goto Helm Package, yes. Ugin comes to mind. Ugin's good. Ugin's actually really good. Apparently we have 95 cards, so let's go ahead. Because we still need to, this list is not near finished at all. So we need to add an interaction suite. We're going to check over our list and make sure that we've added all the ramp necessary to make the Thantis package work, right? And then the Thantis package is encouraged. We're coaxing our opponents to swing into us via all of our Planeswalkers and Monarchy, right? And there's two ways we can engage Monarchy on our turn. These all look good, right? Lotus Petal is questionable. Still good, though. Turn Timber Symbiosis. We've got 33 lands, mind you, so we're probably going to cut a few lands. Speaking of, let's start here. I think I want to get rid of, just looking at our color, we can get rid of like the red-black. Let's get rid of the red-black, the luxury suite, I think is what it's called. Is it not in the list? There we go. Let's get rid of luxury suite. And then we'll probably get rid of one more land momentarily. Because our commander is so difficult to cast, I think it's good if we have an abundance of lands in this list. We'll see if those pay off. We could probably get rid of, I just want to narrow down what we're working with so that we can add that interaction suite, then obviously add our win cons. So this is ramping out pretty hardcore. It's not ramping into anything really special. I'm sorry, we have 3 ways to get Monarchy if we keep Emberwild Captain, right? So Emberwild Captain's good. Whenever an opponent attacks you while you're Monarch, it's not enough. We'll keep it though. Okay. Our Confidant, Dockside Extortionist, these are all good. These are all good. Survival of the Fittest really doesn't have great targets in this list. I don't think we're really trying to hard cast any of this stuff. I'm going to take Survival of the Fittest out for now. Because what is Survival of the Fittest really grabbing? I think at best, Survival of the Fittest would be grabbing a Dualcaster Mage. I do think that Dualcaster Mage might be one of the de facto combo lines in this list thus far. Right? I think that's kind of the way we're going to go. We're going to take out Harrow for now. I like it a lot. I don't know if it's really great here. We need all this ramp. This is... It's almost like a non-card for the list, Metamorphosis. It's good color fixing. It's very easy to cast, and it replaces itself. So I don't mind it for the list. It's essentially making your 99 cards 98. But we may take it out pending, you know, some necessary elements. So will the stream continue here? Yes, it will continue here. If the stream's choppy, guys, I'm sorry about that if it's going in and out. Let's see here. Land base looks good. We might have too many Planeswalkers. We'll see, but I like all of these Planeswalkers, so I'm not going to change them. And our sorcery suite looks okay. So really, Natural Order only has Orin, Frostfang, Dawnglade, Regent to hit, but those are really enough targets for me. I think we should highly consider what kind of creature combos we want. Thantis, obviously, as a package, herself people, I think that's probably enough, right? I think we've removed everything I want to remove from the list. And now we have 8 cards to play with. So let's just consider what kind of and or finisher we want for this deck. And obviously we're going to want to build for that, but it's not looking great at the moment. Like, we've got a really good bone structure here, I think, for people, encouraging people to attack you, which is sort of a side strategy to all this. Like, if we're really trying to win with Thantis damage, that's just mighty impressive to begin with. Like, we want... His name is Kedis. When your commander deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals damage to each opponent. Like, stuff like this. The other one, all the stuff that encourages commander damage or helps you spread the love is something that's on my mind. It's like it's a side strategy. I don't feel like we need to go that route. I do think we should probably add a stack suite, if not some decent removal. We're not really concerned about any sort of stacks package from our opponents. In all honesty, I think if people are playing stacks against us, it's probably the best thing that can happen for us, right? Because this list is pretty slow already, so we can sort of allow stacks to thrive from our any opponent that might be utilizing stacks. I do think I'm going to add the dual caster line of play here. In the least, you know, Twin Flame and Dockside is a very good way to get the girl out. Then obviously, you know, we can win the game if we do that. Dualcaster Twin Flame. Dualcaster Twin Flame. Do we use the other one, Heat Shimmer? Maybe. Just add that for now. A lot of mana here, but I don't think so. I think we're going to add a stack suite to this list. Maybe something along the lines of Root Maze. That'd slow us down way too much. Thantis is a little difficult to build for because I'm not certain what the best strategy for her is. I do think that additional combats would be nice. I'm gonna just add a handful of interaction here. Things like Abrupt Decay, things like Assassin's Trophy are obvious. We obviously want Red Elemental Blast, and Pyroblast. Those are things that are always going to be valuable. We do want to add Deflecting Swat, and we want to add Ricochet Trap. Right, this isn't a list that's trying to rely on ad nauseam. No Mercy in the deck? I don't know what No Mercy is. Whenever a creature successfully deals damage, destroy it. Is that the best version of that? Hold up. We're going to add Lightning Greaves at least. I think. They're not bad here. I don't have No Mercy in the list. It's odd because No Mercy is a good deterrent from people attacking initially, and then once you get Thantis down, they have to attack, so that's kind of cool, right? I do like No Mercy in this list. Is that really the only one that does that? Whenever creature deals damage, destroy. If it's just Mercy, then yeah, we'll run Mercy. No Mercy, rather. I do like that a lot, though. That's actually kind of cool. Whenever creature you control with Death Touch attacks, nope, don't need that. Whenever opponent draws a card, Ob Nixilis deals 1 damage. I really like this Ob Nixilis, by the way. Destroy target creature, its controller draws 2 cards. I don't like that. I do like destroying our own things and drawing cards, though. That'd be kind of cool. This is good. Nothing plays immediately into Thantis' effect, so really the world is our oyster when it comes to how we want to combo out. It's just a matter of choosing how we want to combo out. What is the most efficient way to do that? With this list, because there's so many creature tutors, it's probably some 2-card creature combo and or dual caster. Dual caster is just good value on top of everything we're doing here. I think that's all we want to add for the interaction suite so far. Rurik Thar would be interesting. Yeah, just for damage. I think if we're interested in adding Rurik Thar, it would strictly be to pile on damage as we go along, right? I don't know if Rurik Thar is something I'm going to prioritize as a natural order target, right? That's the best way to cheat Rurik Thar out. But it's a good way to pile on damage, certainly. Whenever deals come in. Yeah, if there's a creature... there's no reason for the World Gorger combo here. We don't really benefit from the infinite mana from it. Unless we have something that's damaging people out, right? Like that land that damages people out. Scorched Desert, Sun-Scorched Desert, something like that. Whenever silver deals combat damage, folks are saying that there's a creature that is No Mercy. There's a No Mercy creature. I'm not immediately seeing it. So what we're going to do is add the type creature here. I'm not seeing it. I would want to add it, though. Whenever deals combat damage to a player, nope. Nope. One of these things, when a silver deals combat damage to a creature, destroy that creature, nope. Deals combat damage to a creature, nope. When a hybrid deals combat damage to a creature, nope. If it's above 5 CMC, I'm not really sure I'm interested. Is this what we're talking about? It's going all right, Eris. In case you're wondering, it's going all right. Whenever creature deals combat damage to a Planeswalker, destroy that Planeswalker. That's kind of cool. All right, so let's just take a gander at where we're at now with this. After we've added all the interaction, the only combo in the deck right now is Dual Caster Mage with either Heat Shimmer or Twin Flame, and that's pretty basic. Better than that. Thantis is interesting because a lot of the list, as it currently stands, is oriented towards getting her out. Which is not really a game-winning plan. Oh Lord. Someone's asking if Grand Warlord Rada is good for the list. Whenever one or more creatures you control attacks, add that much mana. You don't lose that mana as steps and phases end. So, is she good? Yeah. So, hold up. So if we do, and Warlord Rada. What is the threshold? Okay, so we want to do like, hear me out. This is kind of stupid. It's not really a good strategy. You need 7 for that. We're not going to hit that. And then we've got, what is the name of that card? We need mana up front to make this work as well. It's Aggravated Assault. I mean, an infinite combat plan would be kind of cool, is what my mind is saying. Right, so we can even do something like Underworld Breach with any sort of infinite... Now, have Dreadhorde Champion with Underworld Breach and any sort of like Relentless Assault effect, right? It's provided you have the cards in hand to just discard to recast the spell. It's a self Fulfilling Prophecy. It is it's a self-fueled combo, right? So if Neheb Dreadhorde Champion is on the battlefield and has haste, we just added Lightning Greaves. You can use this with Underworld Breach to do infinite combat pending any sorceries or instants that you have that give you additional combats. It's just okay. What about the new Squirrel Toski? I don't really like Toski, if I'm going to be honest, but here it's good. Here it's okay, because if you have Thantis out, obviously people have to make those attacks, have to tap their creatures, so you're going to have people to swing into. That's the only benefit of Toski, but elsewise, if Thantis isn't out, Toski feels kind of underwhelming. And between the two, Orin Frostfang is better because of the death touch aspect. Like, even if Thantis isn't out, people aren't encouraged to block you because they're going to lose their creatures provided they do. So I think that if we're probably going to leave it down to 1 in the sideboard for now, because I'm not really sure Toski makes the cut over Orin Frostfang. Thank you, Quentin. I'm feeling just okay with this deck so far. Savage Ventmaw pays for Aggravated Assault, but has a high CMC, I think. I think Savage Ventmaw's downfall is that the mana doesn't go into the next phase. Give me 1 second. No, okay, so we do get it. Savage Ventmaw attacks, add mana, you don't lose that mana steps and phases in. So this is all really cute, right? I don't... the only reason I'm suggesting we try to establish, and we've got a little bit of time before I want to, like, conclude this list and test it. The only reason I'm suggesting we go a route that uses infinite combat or multiple combat lines is because the list is mounting towards casting Thantis. And Thantis, she's big and can do damage. So it would be kind of fun to play with Commander Damage Matters here. That's the only unique take I can think on Thantis that we could cover. Obviously, infinite combat is going to do the job anyways. So someone suggested Godo with Helm of the Host. I think that's probably a brilliant idea. I think it's probably going to work here. Part of me says, why don't you just play Godo, right? Because at least, you 100% of the time are able to cast Godo, where this is looking more or less like we're going to use a lot of resources to pull Godo out. And then, we would want to add the Magnetic Thefts or like the ways to cheat on the Helm to make that combo work reliably and quickly, which is not a route I necessarily want to go. I feel like we should just focus on doing incremental damage. Like, that is a benefit to Thantis. But the incremental damage package only really thrives provided we have a stacks package in here, right? We're aggressively stopping the board from popping off quickly, like the faster, more proactive list, which this is not doing. So it's tricky to say what's best here. All I know is that we're making a lot of mana. We have a lot of tutors, and we're making a lot of mana. I think that there might be a home for Savage Ventmaw, if only as a target for Natural Order to help put out Thantis, right? So if we do go with Savage Ventmaw, I always wanted to play with Savage Ventmaw. Let's make this a Savage Ventmaw list. Let's go. Always wanted to play with you. Have I considered Daryl from The Walking Dead? I would totally run Daryl here. But not necessarily because creatures attacking, like if you do run Daryl, the draw from Daryl is great, but Daryl mostly benefits from running Pyroclasms, Whip Flares, mass damage effects, Roiling, Earthquake, stuff like that. Because then you can choose when you draw, right? And obviously you're giving 6/6 worth of damage to some player. I love that card. It's really good. I wish it was socially accepted because Daryl is pretty fucking good. But no, I don't think Daryl's great here. I recently found your content. Again, thank you, Quentin. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. I am struggling today, though, with this one because I want this to work desperately. I do think that Savage Ventmaw is better than Grand Warlord Rada. Let's just say that we do want to do incremental damage. This is just good ramp. Savage Ventmaw is just good ramp. What is the creature that works in tandem with Savage Ventmaw that we can use to combo out? Nothing is immediately coming to mind. Is there a good mana sink that you can think of? And I'll take any suggestions from the chat. A good mana sink that you can think of that would be of benefit. Obviously, Aggravated Assault is a combo with Savage Ventmaw. Again, I'll look it up. It was my previous search, if I'm not mistaken. So this is really cool value for the list. It lets you untap your creatures, which may or may not be of benefit. But for 5, you get an additional combat phase followed by additional main phase, yada, yada, yada. With this and Savage Ventmaw, you can win the game very easily. We are in Jund, so we have a lot of tutors to just find this. So I don't mind this. I think Savage Ventmaw is just good by itself for the list because we can put out Thantis. Yes. Yeah. So Savage Ventmaw is making Gruul mana. It's 3 and 3. 3 red, 3 green. So Torment, if we're Jund, I don't know, it's a win con, but Torment, you mean Torment of Hailfire? I'm sorry, is that, we're talking about Torment of Hailfire, or is there like a different Torment card? I assume we mean Torment of Hailfire as a mana sink, right? I mean, I want something repeatable ideally, so like a permanent would be at best. Because something like this can be very easily interacted with, right? Torment of Hailfire is only really great when you've stormed into it and you have all the solutions in hand, and that's not really what we're doing here. And again, I genuinely think the best lines of play for Thantis, like if we want to go a combo route, is just to incorporate Underworld Breach. But then another part of me says, well, why the hell aren't we just playing a better Underworld Breach commander? So that's why we're doing the Savage Ventmaw route. As silly as that sounds, it's just, I try to build for the commander. Otherwise, why are you playing the commander? And in this instance, she wants to attack, so we're gonna try to do that. I think that these are fine, right? So we've got Chrome Mox, Mox Diamond, Lotus Petal, Jeweled Lotus, Mana Crypt, Mana Vault, Soul Ring, Grim Monolith, Lightning Greaves, and Wishclaw Talisman. Wishclaw Talisman's I'm a little iffy on, because we don't really win instantaneously. So giving someone that kind of value does not feel good. Also, no, I want to take out Sylvan Tutor because I hate that card. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't run Torment of Hailfire for as an outlet, right? So for Jund, we predominantly have creature tutors, but obviously Black is lending us just Omni tutors. We can get whatever the hell we want. But I want to try to rely on a creature-based strategy here. So in this world of ours, it's going to be either a Dualcaster Mage Infinite creature line of play, and Dualcaster Mage coupled with either Heat Shimmer or Twin Flame. At this point, we may remove one or the other. And or Savage Ventmaw, Aggravated Assault. You can run like the Hellkite Charger I just looked up, but that's just okay. Not a combo card, but Grenzo Hellraiser could be cute for the list. I'll look at it. I don't think, I'm not really sure what he's adding to this one. Is this the one that goads, or is this the one that is Havoc Razor? Yeah, it's a cute card for the list. I think I'd rather fill that slot with something else, though. Savage Ventmaw is just going to be a fun way to help get Thantis out. Again, I'm not sure, like, getting to the Aggravated Assault line of play is going to be really tricky. I think that, damn it, if I really want to do this, if I really wanted to do this, So arguably, between these enchantments, the best one is... The best ones, if we're trying to do Aggravated Assault Ventmaw, are going to be Survival of the Fittest or Aggravated Assault. Now, why do I like these two amongst these other ones? Well, yes, No Mercy is killing shit. That doesn't really benefit the Thantis package, because you want stuff to survive and you want stuff to attack you. It's also just a big do-nothing if people aren't attacking, right? So it's really useless unless Thantis is out. So why I'm setting it up like this is because we can use a card called Reality Scramble. If you haven't seen my recent brews, Reality Scramble is fantastic because I know I'm going to prioritize one of these two enchantments. And the fact that I can switch it out at a moment's notice for 2 generic double red. Obviously, this is really great in tandem with Savage Ventmaw because we have the mana to do this, right? We may run Entomb to bury this off turn, and then we can target permanent you own at the bottom of your library, reveal cards from the top of your library, so you reveal a card that shares a permanent type. So this is a good way to cycle through our Planeswalkers. This is a good way to, provided their loyalty gets down, we can just say, okay, I'll use this last effect and then I'll Reality Scramble it. Even like with Domri, Anarch of Bolas, like he makes Gruul mana, and makes creatures uncounterable, but you can use that mana to fuel a Reality Scramble and then shift his ass out for another Planeswalker. And then with like a top deck tutor, you can utilize that, say with the Vampiric Tutor, to get your Karn out in case you want to stop artifacts from your opponents. There's one piece of stacks. But essentially, Reality Scramble is going to help us cheat out, if we have Survival of the Fittest, cheat out Aggravated Assault. Right? So that is one card we can manipulate well, that plays well with Savage Ventmaw. Minor synergies. I'm going to add Reality Scramble now. Let's see if we even do that. If you're going to do the attack combo aggregate, yeah, Druid's Repository would be also good. So let's, I only like the creatures because they're immediately tutorable, right? They're immediately, you can find them very quickly. Do we want another means of, so Dawnglade Regent is a huge deal for the list simply because Dawnglade Regent makes it so that our permanents aren't touchable. So I like that. I think that we're going to add Reality Scramble, and I think that if there not another, this is what was suggested. This is what was suggested in chat just a second ago. So Druid's Repository, if you don't know, this is sort of a combo card in some Nigila list. But essentially, whenever a creature you control attacks, put a charge counter on Druid's Repository. You can remove those counters. This is a really great piggy bank. Normally, you see this as a one-shot. People will use this and then use some effect to go infinite, right? But you can always just add the counters on here and use this to go into your Thantis. Obviously, our creatures that are 1 CMC are dorks for the most part. We didn't add Deathrite Shaman. But Druid's Repository would be another great one. Yeah, the only issue is Druid's Repository is an enchantment, right? So if we add Druid's Repository, we can't Reality Scramble into our Aggravated Assault, which is arguably the more important effect for the list. It's still a really good card. Bear Umbra could help the Aggravated Assault combo. Oh, that's not how you spell bear. Let's see here. Whenever this creature attacks, untap all lands you control. So yes, so this would be good, but again, it mucks up. Okay, so sort of Feast and Famine. Feast and Famine, excuse me. So we're going to use sort of Feast and Famine again. I'm trying to clear the way for Reality Scramble. Not to say that that is the best strategy in the world, but 4 CMC to put this on a singular creature. It's got Totem Armor. If it would be destroyed instead, remove all damage and destroy the aura instead. So that's kind of cool. Man, I don't know. Yeah. Yes, it works really well. I think that Reality Scramble is just the cleanest way to help make the thing happen, from my experience. So we're going to just stick with the sword. We're going to stick with the dragon. I think those two catalysts along with Aggravated Assault is probably enough. We don't have Carpet Flowers in the list, so that's fine. Carpet's subjective. I like Carpet. It's usually an auto included in most lists, but I think here Survival of the Fittest is best. Aggravated Assault is best. Let's leave it at that. Obviously, removing Necropotence is also really shitty, but we're trying to make the combat package work with either Sword of Feast and Famine and or our Savage Ventmaw. This list is weird. Let me just start there. I like City of Solitude for Thantis, if it's not in already. This is the people can't cast spells on my turn. People can't cast... No. This card is rough because it's universal. If you use City of Solitude... Well, you'll see it in a second. This is essentially in the same colors, Docent of the Falling Leaf, right? Players can't cast spells and activate abilities only during their turn. So you are allowing people to win on their turn, provided they have the combo in hand, right? I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of that. Oh, it's definitely a whack list. I wouldn't use City of Solitude personally, guys, if you're interested in that. It's like a lesser Grand Abolisher, and I think Grand Abolisher shit. Run Docent instead of City, only because Docent's searchable, but I don't think that that's a really great route. like again, we're gonna natural order into Savage Ventmaw and or Dawnglade Regent. So again, Dawnglade Regent gives all our permanents hexproof immediately. So that seems a better way to protect our combo than making it so that people are allowed to. You're uninteractable outside of turn. It just doesn't feel good. This list really needs. I gotta say, this list really needs some stacks. Let's go ahead and remove some stuff that we don't need. So I can tell you already that I think this can go. I think that Ogadiem's Awakening can go. We're down to we're at 32 lands technically. We've already gotten rid of Luxury Suite. I think at this point we can get rid of the Undergrowth Stadium as well. Is that what it's called? Let's go Stadium. We're at 100 cards now. We've got Ren and 6, Duretti, Ingenious, Iconoclast. So this is adding to our creature count. This would be good with something like Druid's Repository, but we're not going that way. Either that or Grand Warlord Rada. I think Grand Warlord Rada is technically better for this deck because it's immediately tutorable and can be placed on the field. So it's almost like Druid's Repository for the aggravated assault line of play. We're not going to do that. Just Savage Ventmaw, just sort of Feast and Famine. There's not really a great... We didn't add any sort of manipulation like Goblin Welder or Goblin Engineer to cheat out the sort of Feast and Famine. I think if we just luck into it, we have it, we equip it to a thing and has protection. By and large, I don't think people are going to really care about sort of Feast and Famine until they see aggravated assault land on the battlefield. But at which point I'm hoping it's too late. But I do think we need to add a Sax package to this list. Having this many Planeswalkers is really cool, but it's not really encouraging people to attack into you necessarily. I like Duretti quite a bit, but I think we get rid of Duretti. And I think we might get rid of one more Planeswalker as well. We'll see. Again, I want to add a minor stack suite. We need to do something to slow the board down. I think the stacks that we can manipulate that would be meaningful would be things like Thorn of Amethyst, right? Because we're trying to rely on creatures to win the game. So having attacks on non-creature spells would be of benefit. All of our combo cards are very expensive, so even like a Trinisphere would be good for this list. Like if we're trying to win the game and we have the setup, right? If we had a Trinisphere out, I can say natural order into my Savage Ventmaw, use my Lightning Greaves to equip Savage Ventmaw with the boots, and then we can also use Reality Scramble from our grave or some shit like that, right? So basically we can funnel everything into the combo line and have it set up, and they would need, 3 CMC worth of effects or mana value to interact with you. All of these feel like far-flung ideas, I know. I think Neheb Dreadhole Eternal is pretty good with Aggravated Assault line if he's not in the deck already. This is the 5 CMC. We'll just look at him. So Afflict 3 is really cool. Afflict isn't a keyword we haven't seen in a while, but whenever this creature becomes blocked, defending player loses 3 life. So it's encouraging the block essentially because it'll do 4 damage elsewise. And at the beginning of your post-combat main phase, add red mana to your mana pool for each 1 life your opponents have lost this turn. So if you go wide, which is sort of the idea for the strategy, Neheb Dreadhorde Eternal is going to be really good with your Aggravated Assault. This is true. So it's in the same vein, it's your Savage Ventmaw. What's nice is Savage Ventmaw by itself does the thing. Like, you don't need the assistance. Because this by itself is not... Neheb Dreadhorde Eternal, Neheb the Eternal, is only going to net you 4 at most. Where Savage Ventmaw just pays for it, right? So it's a good thought. I'm not sure we're going to use it. Damping Sphere is a good call here too. Damping Sphere is not oppressive for us. Because we're not storming... Here's what we need to look at from a stacks perspective. What is, and I might even remove some removal because we don't really need the removal in this list. As weird as that sounds, what is the worst thing that can happen to us if we didn't have removal is that we wouldn't be able to interact with someone's win, right? And for the most part, I think that just having Pyroblast, Red Elemental Blast, those in the redirects, the Deflecting Swat, Ricochet Trap, those are the big ones to help us stop a game-winning play. I think Abrupt Decay and Assassin's Trophy are probably enough. We'll take out Metamorphosis here. But so far as a stack suite that we want, because the list is slower, I haven't played it yet, but I'm telling you, it's slower. We're going to want to incorporate things that stop more proactive lists. And right now, at the top of cEDH, most all lists are storming, right? So yes, Damping Sphere is great. If you don't know what Damping Sphere is, it only hurts our guy's Cradle, but Damping Sphere makes it so that each spell, a successive spell, costs 1 more to cast for each spell previously played. So, your next spell costs 1 more, 2 more, 3 more, 4 more. It stops Storm in its tracks. In the same scenario, I think that Trinity Sphere are really good. I even think Sphere of Resistance might be beneficial for the list. And unfortunately, we're not really wielding ways to put these things down easily. Maybe we add Goblin Engineer, just Goblin Engineer. And again, though, we do need artifacts to swap out, so it's, we've got a very minor artifact suite here. So we could add like the Null Rod, we could add Collector Oof, bearing in mind that it shuts off the equip on Sword of Feast Famine, the equip on Lightning Greaves. We might just have to bite that bullet because for the most part, we've got plenty of ways to ramp outside of our artifacts. Yes, Damning Sphere, Daryl Hunter of Walkers. Yeah, Daryl Hunter of Walkers is awesome. Maybe since you supposedly always have a clear path to swing, we're not always going to have a clear path to swing, but I get what you're saying. Draw on creatures, yeah, we have Orin Frostfang. No Toski, we don't want Toski. Sorry, Toski. So we've got slots for 2 cards. I want to add just a little bit more stacks here. So how desperate are we for Grim Monolith? Not desperate. I think Mana Vault is the best way to clear the cost of Thantis' 3, right? Generic. I think Grim Monolith's just a bridge too far. I think if we were really storming, Grim Monolith is great because it would allow us to put down our 2 CMC rocks, all that bullshit. You get the idea. I think that adding another Null Rod effect similar to Karn the Great Creator would be good. I like this form of ramp with Domri on Outcrop Bolus a little bit more because it's value-added ramp. Makes your shit uncounterable. So, Occam Adversary is dog dick. Now, Occam Adversary has sort of fallen out of favor, at least in my local play group. There's not really that many people playing green anymore, and if they do play green, there's an utter lack of permanence unless it's a Sylvan Library or a Survival of the Fittest, right? Obviously dorks can be out there, but I don't generally see. I think Ernesto might be the only person playing anything with green in it at this point, so I'm sort of off that strategy. Otherwise, he's 4 CMC, so it's kind of a rough call with him. Is Opposition Agent in? Okay, so that's good. Let's just do this. We've got 3 slots. Damn. Let's remove one more thing. And then I want to add Opposition Agent. I want to add Damping Sphere. I want to add Trinity Sphere. And one more form of stacks. Okay, so what else do we remove? Of these, arguably the weaker of the 2 is Elvish Spirit Guide, but we're not really... So these are really only valuable when you're trying to ramp out hard into some effective storm. God, I feel like I should just remove these 2, but they're taking up slots that could be better evaluated. I think Cabal Ritual is fine. All of these things look good to me. Court of Calling, like, what are we really pulling out from our list at this point? I think the best creatures to pull out would be Orin Frostfang, Savage Venmaw, obviously Dawnglade Regent. So those are our larger targets. Court of Calling is not really hitting. Court of Calling can really, at best, just hit our Dockside Extortionist to help us ramp out on our turn. And obviously, at instant speed, we can also use Court of Calling to get our Dual Caster Mage, provided we've Twin Flamed with that on the stack. It's a lot of mana up front. So Torpor Orb is not bad here. So far as ETBs that we're concerned about, it's really just Dawnglade Regent, right? And obviously Dockside Extortionist, but Dawnglade Regent providing Monarchy is important. That's, again, another way to get people to swing into Thantis. Mags of the Moon or Blood Moon, screw us over. It does with our land base. And we're not even using the card I was suggesting earlier, Tainted Pact, because we have a Tainted Pact land base here. Everything's singles. I'm not really sure we need... the Tainted Pact is really good here because it's just going to drive us to the solution. Like, this list doesn't care if a bunch of cards get exiled, provided we have, like, if Savage Venmaw's been out and we have Tainted Pack, we just want to hit Aggravated Assault, right, at this point. There's no other additional combat suite in this deck. Now, mind you, if Aggravated Assault gets removed, we have Eternal Witness and Noxious Revival to reclaim it. That's it. We're not on Underworld Breach. So at least they're creatures. That's another good thing for Court of Calling. Also Green Sun Zenith. We'll remove the Farseek for sure. That might be the only thing else we need to remove. Turn Timber Symbiosis, Natural Order, Reality Scramble. Okay, Eldritch Evolution, Heat Shimmer, these are all good. Demonic Tutor, Diabolic Intent. We're going to add Tainted Pack. I want to add Tainted Pack and then 4 stacks pieces, right? 3 Visits, Nature's Lore. These are really good ramp for us. Do we need both? I can't really say yet. I like all of the Planeswalkers we have. I like Garruk quite a bit. But Garruk feels among the weakest of this lot here. I think Garruk might be removed momentarily as well. But again, this is another one of those things that encourages people to swing at you. Its ultimate can be a finisher. But I think the stacks is more important. And if I was going to reality scramble these like Ren and 6, I'm happy to hit any one of these things. But this is excellent removal. This is excellent stacks. And then Tevesh is just a bomb. Okay, so we've got our slots open. Let's add Tainted Pact, and let's add some... Is Ren and 6 good, necessary in this list? So Ren and 6 is difficult to evaluate. I think that, for the most part, Ren and 6 is extremely expensive, not only because of its play in other formats, but because it's just a very valuable card. If your list runs... any number of fetch lands, Ren and 6 is going to be of value because it means you always hit your land. If you're going up against bodies that have 1 defense, which is all the time, Ren and 6 is going to remove them. Whether they be a minor threat like an Elf and or a larger threat like a Dark Confidant, giving your opponent's value, you can remove it. Notion Thieves, you can remove it. Obviously, after the Notion Thief lands, if there was a wheel, then you're probably in a bad spot and Ren and 6 has sort of lost its opportunity. But... It's very good value. I love Ren and 6. And again, it's another way to reality scramble into something better, right? If it hits Tevesh, that's sort of like a dream for us. But I love Ren and 6. I manipulate it in a lot of lists. It's always good to hit those lands. We do have a high threshold of lands though. So Trinity Sphere, Damping Sphere, and we just added 3 cards. We're able to add, so we've got 5 cards to work with. We've got 2 more stacks pieces to incorporate. Would Food Chain be good? I don't really like Food Chain here. I don't want to add Squee. We don't need it. If you're going to manipulate Food Chain. Okay, so we're only on 2 enchantments because we want to power out Aggravated Assault, right? So Survival of the Fittest is gas in this list. I'm not even sure we have the creature threshold for it to always be active or always be live and good, but for the most part it's going to allow us. We don't have any reanimate spells either because we could sort of cheat out our strategy with Survival of the Fittest. Oh my god. Okay, let's stick to adding stacks really quick. Collector Oof, to be honest with you, I want to say yes. Collector Oof and Opposition Agent, right? Is that what we agreed on as the stacks package? 2 creatures, 2 artifacts, done. Okay. So because Survival of the Fittest is unique, I think it's largely neglected that you are putting creatures into your graveyard, and how that's valuable is that you are able to manipulate your Reanimate, your Animate Dead, your Dance with the Dead, all that stuff to recur and put on the field said creature you've just discarded. So that is the secondary benefit to Survival of the Fittest. We don't have any sort of reanimation in this list, and I think that might be a fault we'll need to remedy momentarily. But while we have 20 minutes, let's just go ahead and take a second to look at Psycho Thantis, see how it plays. Yeah, so we're going to probably add a reanimation suite in a second. We'll see. Is this starting hand good? Let's just say that we're off play here. Let's try this. So we're going to do Gemstone Caverns, and we're going to exile... Well, this is tricky, isn't it? Obviously, Opposition Agent's really good here. If we're not going to do... Do you see it? Do you see it? We're going to want to play Opposition Agent, right? Like into someone's fetch land or something like that. I do think Karn Liberate is better in this instance. Yes, Dawnglade. We're far from Dawnglade Regent. We're very far from Dawnglade Regent. But as I look at this hand, I need a way to refill my hand, and Dawnglade Regent's going to be able to do that. And also, if we are able to power out Dawnglade Regent, it's just fantastic protection for our board state. So we'll do that. We'll draw per turn. We'll do the swamp. Do the swamp. Do the Soul Ring. Pretend to have some other form of interaction. Then we'll hold. We'll wait till someone does something with a land. Cool. We are able to get Opposition Agent down. We'll tutor for their lands. Whatever land is most valuable to us. Let's just say that this is a... Ooh, that's the land, right? That's the land we found. Cool. Let's go. Next turn. We're going to play that lands. It doesn't really matter what it taps for. We're probably going to be able to play most of our stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're really close to Dawnglade Regent. As a matter of fact, if we were to... We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So technically we can cast Dawnglade Regent if this made... Well, that's not true. We're a little far because we need the double green. So that would be green if we're trying to fulfill that need. This is not castable elsewise. What we can do is add our Karn Great Creator and then just add Lightning Greaves to protect our Opposition Agent. Thantis, yes, we could cast Thantis now on turn 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we would need to kill Opposition Agent to do that, which is not something we want to do. Ideally, the Infernal Plunge and the Culling Week are best to use on our dorks. So let's just go ahead and add the Lightning Greaves. Let's give the girl protection. Obviously, I want to get Karn down, but I think we're probably in a good spot with just this for now. We sort of feign interaction. We'll attack here. That's fine. Okay. Yay, we hit our land drop. Okay, so unfortunately, it's not giving us the green we need to make Dawnglade Regent happen, but we are able to cast Thantis now and or Karn the Great Creator. And if we're being honest with ourselves, it really depends. I think Karn the Great Creator is arguably a better play than Thantis, so we're gonna do that, right? The black and then whatever this land was. And then we have our interaction suite there. It'd be nice if we were able to make tokens somehow, is what I'm thinking to myself. But yeah, that's where we're at. So we've done that. We're going to go ahead and, you know what's cool? We can actually make our Soul Ring a creature and sacrifice it for ramp, right? That's something we can do with Karn. I don't think we're going to do that. We're going to zap someone's Mana Crypt and we're going to pass. We'll leave her up as a blocker. That's fine. There's our Arbor Elf with no forest. It's one of the issues with Arbor Elf. If you don't fetch that forest quickly, then it's just not a good card. So we can just cast Thantis now. I think that's all we'll do on this turn. Right, so there's our red, there's our black, there's our green. Let's just say we did it that way. Put Thantis down. Does Thantis get the Lightning Greaves? No, hell no. Opposition Agent is so much better than Thantis for this board state. So they can't search the libraries and they can't have access to their artifacts. And we've put Thantis down on turn 4 slowly. That's very slow to do that. That's not bad. I'm hoping to pull into a land. Cool. Why am I running Flooded Strand? We need to take that out. What the hell? Yeah. So if you're wondering, this is the only fetch land we can't run. Okay. So that's not Flooded Strand. We need to switch that out. Let's just say that was, I don't know, Verdant Catacombs, I guess. We want green. We want green, okay? The hell? We're going to grab Bayou. We're going to grab a Bayou, shuffle up. Now we'll cast Dawnglade Regent. Good luck countering that shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We are the Monarch. A token for that? Cool. We are the Monarch. And now all of our permanents have protection from everything. So if they weren't able to remove it yet, at this point, the best thing they can do, really, is to try to remove a threat from the board. Now, it's a 2-step procedure to remove the Opposition Agent. If they had a bounce for Karn the Great Creator, now would be the time. Let's pretend that someone had a Chain of Vapor for Karn, and that's fine. And we'll do that. Right? Okay, so now it resolves. We get the Monarchy. We are the Monarch. We're gonna probably move the lightning gleam. Do we really want to attack with an 8/8 or do we want to block with an 8/8? I'm bullshitting you. We have Thantis. So we're gonna move the lightning greaves onto the Dawnglade here. We'll attack with Dawnglade, we'll attack with Thantis, and maybe there was open person to attack with opposition agent. Cool. So we do that. We're a monarch, we get to draw a card. Not too useful. Okay, so we've got a Badlands per turn. And you can sort of see how we stumble about the rest of our game here. Well, they can't search their libraries. We'll recast Karn the Great Creator. This was okay. This was an okay starter. I don't know if this was the best in the world. Living Plane Thantis makes everyone either tap their lands. I like that. Let's just go ahead and... so that was a good demonstration of what the list... how the list should operate or can operate. Obviously, Thantis is never really the priority. I think it's nice that we're able to get her out early. And with that particular hand, we didn't want the Infernal Plunge. That doesn't make it a bad card. It just doesn't make it very playable, right? Obviously, Culling the Weak and Infernal Plunge are both very good because they cover her cost glowingly, right? You know, you get the red pip and or just cover the 3 generic. Culling the Weak covers the 3 generic and the black pip. And, you know, that's really what your dorks are best for. I think Arbor Elf was kind of shit here. Really just good survival of the fittest fodder. What I want to do is incorporate some sort of reanimation suite. And someone mentioned Living Plane. So this is actually a really cool idea. And there's a couple of ways to make this happen. Imagine a world where you were to use Living Plane and or another similar effect, and you had a Whip Flare, and you had an Electrickery, and you had a Pyroclasm, right? So let's just look at Electrickery. Electrickery. So this deals 1 damage to target creature you don't control. If you overload this, and you can do this at instant speed, which is really cool, you just do damage to 1 damage to each creature you don't control. So you can sort of mass board wipe their land base, and or just by having Living Plane down, I'm assuming the suggestion was for this, they have to attack with their lands if they don't tap out on their turn. So it's sort of like, and this, mind you, this is 10 mana to set up. You need Thantis, you need Living Planes. But what this is encouraging and what it's causing is people to have to attack with their lands if they don't use them. So they're always going to be tapped out provided Living Plane isn't removed. And in a game where we have our Dawnglade region, and by the way, this is like the best setup unless people have 2 creatures to swing into you. Dawnglade Regent with Thantis is amazing because it's hard to interact with you now unless someone else becomes Monarch. So Living Plane would be kind of cool. Living Plane goes well with wipes, so maybe also incorporate Daryl. See, no, look, unless I was doing Daryl himself as the commander, I'm not going to try to build around Daryl because Daryl's never going to be a priority here. Unless you're, like, if you just want to do that, you should just play Daryl. You should just play Daryl Hunter of Walkers. I wouldn't advise you build for Daryl in a list that's incorporating him in the 99, even if you can get Daryl out early, because we're trying to play for, again, Savage Ventmaw, Dawnglade Regent, or Orin Frostfang for draw. Those are the priorities here, because they draw instantaneously, these two, right? Instantaneously. Daryl, you need to build around. And we're, although I love the suggestion and the constant suggestion. I do have a copy of Living Plane that we could use. I don't think that that's necessarily what we want to do here, though. We don't have any mass board wipes, and I'm not really concerned about board wipes because, again, we want people to attack. We want damage to run rampant. I think Living Plane with Thantis by itself is nice because it causes them to tap out their creatures. That is kind of a cool toe. Do we want to incorporate that over one of these two things? Do we want to incorporate that with these two things? Would hitting Reality Scramble Survival of the Fittest into Living Plane, would that be of huge benefit? Or what if it was just Living Plane and Aggravated Assault? Because with the creature count in this list being as it is, 18 creatures, the percentage chance of us having a creature when Survival of the Fittest is out is kind of low. So maybe if that were just Living Plane, is that a better card for the deck? Yes and no, right? The World Enchantment. The card should have a sack ability. Don't know what you're referring to. Living Plane? So I'm not really high on survival of the fittest here. It turns useless creatures like Arbor Elf into some value, right? At best, it's probably going to manipulate Arbor Elf into Dockside Extortionist. Like, that would be okay. I want to go ahead and test the list again. I think as it stands, it's fine. I think it's going to need some tweaking, though, if you're going to try to manipulate this version of Thantis. Going to need a little bit of tweaking. Living Plane is kind of a cool idea, though. I'm glad we sort of had that offshoot discussion for it. You're going to see the screen wig out in a second. All right, guys, give me 1 second here. Let's see. Let's go ahead and test the list one more time. See what we can do with it. Is this a keepable hand? Huh. So what's interesting about this hand is that we've got like part of a combo set up there. Heat Shimmer is ideally best used on a Dockside Extortionist in our world. What I want to do is run some form of Reanimation Suite. We do have protection here with the Lightning Greaves. However, after the Collector Oof lands, we shut off the Greaves. What's nice about Mana Vault is that it's a trigger, so we can always just pay it off turn, provided we want to stop hurting ourselves. We don't use life as a resource, though, so this is okay. I think we're probably going to ship this hand. We'll take a new hand here. Now this is good. This is decent. So we have really good redirect in hand. We've got a little bit of ramp. We've got the Gemstone Caverns. Let's keep this. Let's just say we're off play here. We get to do Gemstone Caverns, and I think with this hand, arguably gonna be the Rite of Flame. You kind of want to have the Abrupt Decay. Like, at least you have a playable on turn 1 here, outside of Worldly Tutor. So what I'm really looking at moving into my turn is having either one of these two things available for myself. So let's just go ahead and draw a card per turn. We'll do the Prismatic Vista. Now, pending, we might want to grab a Forest here. We kind of want to grab a Mountain, ideally, right? To just, this is the best form of interaction in this hand. The Abrupt Decay early game is just okay. We're not really worried about removing stacks pieces. But let's just pretend that we can use this to grab a Swamp, because we have more need for a Swamp at this moment with Diabolic Intent and Abrupt Decay than we do anything else. And then this is all off turn. We'll use this for a Worldly Tutor. Worldly Tutor at this point is probably going to grab Dockside Extortionist. I don't think that Dockside Extortionist is fantastic right here, but it is a body to sack to Diabolic Intent, carefree. And pending your table, pending the game, this might get you a lot of treasure. On average, I like to think of Dockside Extortionist like on turn 1, anywhere between 2 and 3. On turn 2, anywhere between 3 and 5. And you can sort of, increase it from there. I've seen games where on turn 5, Dockside Extortionist makes like 2 treasures. There's just some bad tables for him. But let's just say this is the great table for Dockside Extortionist. So we'll put him on top. And what sucks is it's our turn 2. I think I probably just want to hold on to this hand and see what happens. Let's pretend that we needed to use the Abrupt Decay off turn for something. Fine. Okay, so now we'll go for the Dockside Extortionist on turn 3. Let's just say at best this makes 6 treasures, right? Whoop, and we'll use this to indicate our treasures here. We do have Eldritch Evolution in the list to convert any of our creatures into another creature. So we can use our Eternal Witness after the fact to get 5 CMCer like Orin Frostfang. We can use our Orin Frostfang if we want to move it into a combo creature after we've gone the draw out of it. So that's not so bad. Here we're going to go ahead because Arbor Elf, man, I might even just take Arbor Elf out. I'm hating every time I see him. Oh, I need to take Flooded Strand out too. Okay, so just all of that out of our mind. Let's just go ahead and drop the Arbor Elf. God. Horrible. Yes, we can play Thantis. Fuck. You know what? Here, let's just play Thantis. That's the fun thing to do, right? With those 6 treasures. Pass. Our land base is complete shit right now. So let's go ahead here and cast Diabolic. To be honest with you, I'm not even sure what we find. Because in this world, Diabolic would be great for a reanimate spell, but we don't have it. So I think what we're going to do, I already know what we're going to do. To close this out, let's try to perfect what's here. Which is not saying much. There's not much here. If you guys are just tuning in, we're finishing up Thantis Warweaver. And so far as combos for the list are concerned, the things that made most sense to me were to try to go for infinite combat line of play with aggravated assault and either Savage Vent Maw or Sword of Feast and Famine. And we also have, so far as combos are concerned, Dualcaster Mage alongside Heat Shimmer and Twin Flame. At best, Heat Shimmer and Twin Flame are going to hit your own dockside and or opposing dockside, provided it's the Heat Shimmer. That's going to allow us to ramp off into some of our larger spells. So far as draw utilities are concerned, we have Ornn Frostfang, Dawnglade Regent giving us Monarchy. That's extremely good. We also have Dark Confidant. Dark Confidant can do a lot of damage to us in this list, but we're not using our life in any other form, so that's not the end of the world. We've got a lot of ramp to go into any one of our spells and a lot of tutors to grab any one of our value engines. However, with the hands we've just seen, we're not really getting there. So I think we're going to take out this. I don't know how that Flutter Strand got in there. Am I missing a tutor? We can look at our fetch land suite later. But we're at 30 lands at this point. We want to get rid of Arbor Elf because every time I see it, what is with this game right now and seeing that card? I do think that the Spirit Guides are probably a non-essential for this list. I think that we need more ways to draw cards and less ramp, because the ramp that we have is already good. Now, I understand that the Spirit Guides are really good fodder for the Survival of the Fittest, provided we need them. But I'm not even high on Survival of the Fittest in this list as it stands. There's never really been a great moment for it, even if it was in our hand. So I think that we're probably going to switch Survival of the Fittest out for a separate enchantment. Probably the Druid's Repository, as weird as that sounds, because at least that's ramp, right? Consistent ramp with whatever creatures we might have. And then obviously, you know, Druid Repository can work its way into Aggravated Assault, provided we have... You obviously want Druid's Repository with the Aggravated Assault, so it can combo that way, and or it can be used with Reality Scramble to get the combo set up with our Savage Vent Maw, and or if we have Sword of Feast and Famine out, provided we have enough lands for Sword of Feast and Famine. We never hit the amount of lands. Sabertooth. I don't know why we're suggesting Tamir Sabertooth. Do we want infinite mana in this list? There's no outlet or payoff, right? Other than Aggravated Assault, if we have Aggravated Assault. But if you want to establish infinite mana lines in a list, are there clear strategies that apply that mana? Namely, does your commander act as an outlet? Generally, if it doesn't, it's not really you don't really aim for infinite mana unless you have immediate payoffs for it. And in this list, the only immediate payoff is Aggravated Assault. So we're already working towards that with other lines of play. I don't want to get sidetracked into trying to set up infinite mana with either Tamir Sabertooth or any number of, you know, lines of play like Cloudstone with Dockside to do that trick to me. I think that ultimately, though, we've removed 2 things. Ooh, we've got 4 slots after that, all that removal. What we're going to do, and how I'm going to end this, I'm going to end the video here. But what I would recommend for this particular build, I don't even like Survival of the Fittest here. We'll go a little over time. I do need to set up because I'm going to be shooting Brew Wars in a second. So let's go ahead and add maybe a little bit more stacks. Tendershoot Dryad. Nah. No, we're not that desperate. We might add Toski back in. I hate to say it. But I think that this list is suffering from its lack of card draw. So even if... Man, Ad Nauseam feels weird. I think that Necropotence is best for the list. It's in our sideboard, but what I'll do is do Necropotence, and then we'll go ahead and remove the Survival of the Fittest. Necropotence is just a better card for this list as it's been playing out. Did I already sideboard the Survival of the Fittest? I did. Okay, so we've got 96 cards. Let's just try to conclude this list. We've got 96 cards here. I think I want more draw utility. This doesn't make sense, but I think dark... No, we can't do Dark Tutelage. It would really just need to be Ad Nauseam. We're not going to go that deep, though, with Ad Nauseam. I think more stacks and more draw is necessary, though. So whatever draw engines we can think of that are best for this. In these colors, man, we'll do the Sylvan Library because it's essential. And then, you know, we can rehash how the Reality Scramble works with this list. Even if it's just Reality Scramble and we get Necropotence, that's not a bad thing. Okay. The ambulance is coming. That's when I know. That's when I know it's time to end the stream. But that's where the Warweaver ended. I think that it's good. It's not a overly complicated list. It's not a very great list. It's the build we've done today is demanding us to put Thantis down and get some sort of advantage there. And obviously we wanted to work towards an infinite combat line because that's sort of what this commander is oriented towards. Probably better strategies to work into a Jund list. You know, we talked about Underworld Breach halfway through this video. There are lines of play that are much better for that, but they don't really rely on Thantis. So in my mind, if we're going to do an Underworld Breach line of play, why don't we just play a better set of commanders for that, which is arguably not Thantis. So the way it's set up now, it seems fine. Again, Eldritch Evolution off of Thantis is great to hit some more valuable creatures. It hits anything on our list, but namely like Dawnglade Region to protect our combo. I would go ahead and maybe just reintroduce the Spirit Guides to have some interaction off turn and or add more stacks to this. I believe after those latest editions, we have 3 or 4 slots. So I would add more stacks, more interaction, and then we're going to be in a much better place. But to close this video out, as I do with all my videos, I like to thank all of my Patreon members. You guys helped make all of this happen, so thank you so much if you are a member of the Patreon and you're watching this today. We just got a new addition to the Patreon crew as of this morning, and I'd like to thank you personally. Steven Stewart, thank you for joining as a Brew Crew member. If you happen to be watching this, you are among the best. I thank you for your support over on Patreon. And if you guys want to check out the benefits, you can do so by following the link in the description to this video. Thank you for the super chat earlier. Thank you for subscribing if you subscribed after this stream today. And if you subscribe now, you're going to get thanked on the screen. That's how cool my Streamlabs OBS is at this point. But guys, let's see about adding more Planeswalkers, more stacks. I think Thantis has a fighting chance, but it is definitely going to be a slower list. So I encourage you to take this list, build around the core concepts, and add more stacks to it. That's really the only change, the only shift that we need to make here. But again, my name is Patrick Marlette, and happy brewing, gang.